this issue of the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center and the Patuxent Wildlife Facility and the green space that was, in a sense, deeded to us by our ancestors, leads to a very interesting issue, which is who has the right to act upon those lands? You know, to whom do they belong, let's say? And I would like to ask you both to discuss the issue of whether there is a right of the government to own those lands and to do with them as they will, or is this something that does belong to the people ourselves? Rodney, would you mind leading us off?
Sure. Yeah, I've heard this argument. I've heard a few politicians actually use the argument that, well, you know, Bark is owned by the federal government. It's their land, and therefore they can do whatever they want with it. But in actuality, the land, I believe, is owned by the citizens of the United States, and it's up to the government to take care of that land and to treat it in the proper way. And so it's up to the citizens really to make sure that they do that. And unfortunately, there's some people that don't want to do that. But, you know, the fact is that that's why we have environmental laws. That's why we have NEPA, the National Environmental Protection Act. And the fact is the Treasury Department has violated NEPA in many ways on this project. And they need to be held accountable, and they are going to be held accountable. So I encourage, you know, all the citizens out there that know about this project and find out about this project to get involved and be a part of the solution and preserve this property, because this is absolutely critical, not only for us now, but for future generations. We have to preserve places like this.
Yes, and I agree with that 100%. I have grandchildren, and it really, really frightens me to think of what their future will be like with climate change. And, you know, Treasury says that they have a unique need to put this facility at Bark because of the currency need. But I say we, the people, have a need to have clean air and clean water and open space. And I think our need trumps theirs, because we can't replace Bark. You know, once those lands are gone, they're gone. They can put the facility somewhere else in Prince George's County. And that's what they need to do. And I think this sets a terrible precedent, as would the maglev, because it's taking federal land, in the case of maglev, for profit of a company. And in the case of the BEP, it's just making a mockery of our efforts to fight climate change.
I think that what you're saying here is very, very significant, because the question is whether we are going to preserve green space and green resources or greenbacks. So we are the people, we are the origin of government. They exist to serve our concept of what is the greater public benefit. And I agree with you both that it's incumbent upon us as the citizens to make sure that they don't create a choice now that they will regret for hundreds of years from now. So thank you both. Yes, Rodney, sorry.
I saw an article just recently by Jane Goodall and another gentleman, where they pointed out that if we lose all of our existing forests that we have now, what's left of our existing forests, humans will be extinct. So, it's come down to the point where it's not just about protecting bark or greenbelt or, a forest here and there or a tree in your backyard. It's coming down to protecting the human species, or whether we are going to be able to survive on this planet and other species are going to be able to survive on this planet. So it's a critical issue. So thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Oh, and I just want to add that we will be inserting in the text that accompanies this video links to places that you can become active, that you can express your viewpoint, and that you can actually make a stand for our green space and to prevent people from making terrible decisions that are perhaps advantageous only in a very short time, but will have repercussions for many, many centuries to come. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Rodney Roberts. Thank you, Maureen Fine. Thank you to the people of Save Bark and Stop the BEP. And we appreciate you being with us here in cleanslatepeople.com.
Thank you, Kate.